All right, so let's go back real quick. Let me share my screen real quick. I'm sharing my screen, right? Already?
I don't see it.
All right. Desktop 1, that should be it. All right. So, all right.
Okay,
So
yeah.
this is the deal. You can see it now, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So 1305 Claremont Ave. It's a duplex, 2-bed, 1-bath, 840 square feet. They
Each
want
unit.
each side. They want 170 for it. ARV they're saying is 250, but like I said, man, this is from wholesale,
Yeah.
right?
I put the recent comps on there that I found, those two. Yeah, but that was their ARV. And I was gonna ask you why, because they put a 250 as a duplex, but 290 as a single family. So that would be if you would just like knock down some walls and make it just a 402.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you know, take it with a grain of salt when people give these suggestions because you don't know their expertise, where they get these numbers from, and all that. So that's why it's good to do your own due diligence. By him putting this up, like the way I do it now is when they offer information, I go verify it, but it's false until I verify it.
Okay.
So the first thing what I did was I went to let me change this. The first thing I did is I pulled it up on Zillow. I hadn't even got to the FMLS yet because Zillow gonna tell me a lot. Price history. Some of the stuff Zillow gets wrong, like the Zestimate, like that shit is always wrong. But the price history and all that stuff come from the tax records. So, and I also looked at the pictures here to see the damage of the duplex. It looked like it's gonna need, a full renovation based on these pictures. I'm just gonna go through a couple of them. Yeah, it looked like it's gonna need a full renovation because to compare it to 918 Jefferson, they went all the way through Jefferson. Jefferson is fully rehabbed, so they can get that 1100 each side. Because if you don't get that 1100 each side, it's not going to bring in that 2200 a month, which I came up with the ARV at 220. I know they're saying it's 259, but the one that sold for 259, they did a full rehab, right? So I'm looking at these pictures. This ain't just a paint and carpet flip,
Mm-hmm.
You might have to remove some paneling. Uh, see. Another thing I look for is the cabinets. Can I keep the cabinets and paint over them? Sometimes you can keep them and paint over them. Sometimes you can't. That's how you can save money, in the rehab. But all this trash out alone is going to be about $2,500. I'm looking at 3 to 4 dumpsters, and dumpsters going to be around 400, 500 a dumpster. Plus the labor to get it moved out. So so all this stuff is going through my mind when I'm looking at a deal. I'm pricing the rehab as well as pricing I'm pricing the rehab. I'm also pricing, what can I save? I see these window units up here. Probably need an HVAC unit. If you want to bring it up to market and get top dollar for it. Yeah, so that's enough for the pictures. So, and then the second thing I do is I go to Google Maps and I walk down the street. I want to get a feel for the neighborhood. So I can see what's next to me, what's down the street. These look like they've been kept up pretty decent. This one not so much. So like I said, I walk down the street just to see what type of neighborhood I'm in. Is it a working class neighborhood? Is it one of those neighborhoods that people really just kind of let go? But looking at these houses, like even this one right here, this one looks like it's been renovated recently. Yeah. Have you talked to them to see if they were flexible on the price at all?
No, I haven't talked to her yet. She just sent it to me this morning.
Okay. All right. So that's the second thing I do. The third thing I did was I went to the comp, right? 918 Jefferson. So 918 Jefferson is the comp that sold for 260. Let's see, what's the square footage? 840 times 2, 840 each side.
So 1680.
That's 1680 square feet, right? So this is the comp. So I told you it's three approaches appraisers use: the sales comp approach, the income approach, which means what it's bringing in per month, and the price per square foot approach, right? So this one sold for 259, and that entails it sold for 131 a square foot. And you can see that here. It sold for 131 a square foot. So now that I did 840 times 2, which is 1680, I multiply that by 131. This is what the comp sold for, 131. So this brings the ARV up to 220, not 259, because it had less square footage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and see, for them to get this 260, what did they put inside of it? You see, they did a nice job on the lawn. The presentation on the outside is good. They got granite countertops, stainless steel appliances. These are new cabinets. These are new shaker style cabinets. I do see that they left the paneling, so they saved money on sheetrock there. They didn't even get doors. They got the little accordion doors. They got LVP flooring. So right now I'm seeing that they painted it, they put trim down, and they did the floors, and they left the paneling up. Because it's a rental, you can do that with a rental. Let's see. They left the tiles in the bathroom, but they put a new vanity there. They saved a little money there. Okay. So based on what I'm looking at, even with this is one comp because it's got more square footage. I'm thinking the ARV is more so 220 versus 259 because we did the price per square foot approach. Plus, based on what I'm looking at on Claremont, this is gonna be a 35,000-40,000 renovation, and if we buying it at 170, we'll be all in at 200. That's before we pay any realtor, any closing costs, anything. So the numbers are too tight. So, but I say that to say this: every deal, every house has a number that makes it a deal. At 169, it's not a deal.
Right.
It could be a deal at 130, 120. We just got to see how low they're willing to go. But do you see how I came up with those numbers?
Yeah, I guess the hardest part for me was just to figure out because like they didn't give me an estimate for rehab, so I didn't have anything to really go off of. So it's just obviously that comes with experience, but I couldn't just look at the pictures and say, well, this is how much rehab, is going to cost. So
Yeah,
I mean, I knew it was going to probably need a lot just by looking at it, but I couldn't come up with a number like you came up with a number.
right. And the more you do this, the better you'll get at it. Give me 1 second. Times 2, times $34. All right. So one thing that I do too is it's a tier, and this is not rule of thumb, but this is just to put me in the right ballpark. I got tiers for paint and carpet flips, mid-grade, and full guts. So I think this would be more so of a mid-grade renovation. So I would calculate whatever the square footage is. So 840 times two sides times, I say the renovation, let's say if it's $22 a square foot. That put us at a 30 almost $37,000 renovation, right? But that's right on with where I eyeballed it. I said it's gonna be probably a $40,000 renovation, and it's different little type of approaches that you can do. I think, but the more you underwrite, the more you'll be able to zero in that, hey, floors cost, like for example, floors cost like LVP. Let's say they cost $2.25 a square foot, but it's 1,600 square feet. You know off top that you're gonna pay $3,600 for floors, and that's not including the labor.
Right.
You probably can add another $1,000 to that for labor. So you're looking at 4,600, for just laying the floors. But that's kind of how, I zero in on the numbers. And another reason too, because I represent buyers who buy duplexes and stuff. Like, and I just bought a duplex myself. So I bought a duplex that was 3,000 square feet for 115. But that's on a sliding scale because it depends on the area and all that type stuff. But I know this is in an up and coming area, but they just asking too much off the cuff for the amount of rehab it needs. You'll get out of it. You'll be lucky to get out of it at 220 with everything. Because you got to think at 170, and I'm not gonna drag it out too much, but at 170 purchase price, $40,000 renovation, you at 110. You got to pay a realtor at least 6% to bring a buyer, unless you sell it off market. That's another 6,000. So you at 116. I came over. I'm at 216. I came over with the ARV of 220. Shit. Even if the ARV was 290, it'd be tight. Well, no, it'll be just right on. But
Okay, so you're looking at least a spread of like what, 60, 70,000 for it to make sense?
I say at least 50 plus, but if you're on site less than 60 days, you can do something that's 40,000, 35, 30,000. You know, um, it depends on the time it takes to complete it too. But this one, I just knew it off the rip that it was overpriced. At 160, somebody will buy it. That don't mean it's a good buy. That's why I try to tell people too, like, just because I know Crayon was sending me deals and she was like, well, it's a good buy. I got people interested. I'm like, well, they might be buying it wrong. Anybody can buy it if you got the money, but if it's gonna be a headache property or a deal, that remains to be seen. But yeah, keep sending them. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask how long. So if you were to say, like, you got the different tiers of, the levels of rehab that you have. So how long does each one approximately take? Like if it was just a light rehab, how long are we looking to renovate? Middle and full gut, like on average?
Paint carpet, you can really be in and out within 2 to 3 weeks. You could, like, because all you're doing is you just painting and carpeting. Like you could paint a house in a couple days, you could lay carpet in one day. It just depends on if your general contractor, whoever you got over that site, that project manager, how good are they? How good are they with getting their subs out there and staying on them to complete the job, or are they taking cigarette breaks all day? Just sitting around talking. So I say paint carpet anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks, mid grade anywhere from a month to 2 months, full gut. You taking everything, you stripping it down to the studs, electrical, plumbing, new roof, foundation, that type of thing. You can look to be on site anywhere from 2, 3, 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All righty.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So did you get like the theme, like going and look at the comp, seeing? Because when I look at the comp, I see what they put in it, and then I see what they bought their house for.
Right.
So
yeah, that makes sense. That's a better way to look at it. I really was just looking at the number of bedrooms and bathrooms, and like, I wasn't comparing it as deeply, you know, into the detail. And also, like, I knew the other one was a little more square foot, but I didn't really configure it like the way you did, specifically with the
Yeah,
number.
yeah. I do it all three ways. I do the sales comp. I look what the comps that sold, and then I look at the price per square foot last. And secondly, I look at the income approach. So in order to get 1,100 each side, you're gonna have to really, you know, go in and put some elbow grease in this and bring it back to life.
Right. Okay. Got it.
All right, keep them coming. We're
I
gonna
will appreciate it, Rashad.
right now. All right.
All right. Thanks.